This is about the new JSON processing functionality that is available in 9.2.11. Just a brief intro. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a very lean hierarchical data format used in many different web technologies like RESTful web services. It basically consists of key value pairs, like in this example, ID mapping to file, whereby the value can be either some such primitive value or be a complex JSON child object, like shown here for pop-up, or even an array of elements. The nodes available in 2.11 allow you to read JSON files and extract information from it. There are more nodes, like for instance for schema validation, transformation of JSON objects, and also computing the diff between two JSON objects. There are also nodes that allow you to convert JSON to XML and the other way around. Let's do a quick demo. So shown here is a very simple workflow. So first of all, the JSON nodes are available under KNIME Labs, so there are still not yet considered stable API. Shown here on the workflow is just the JSON reader. If I configure that one, it's reading a file that's located in the workflow folder itself. It's containing information about a list of books that were published about or by George W. Bush, categorized into different categories. It's just one big JSON object here, so it's an array of books. Now the challenge is to extract information from that JSON file, and we would need to use a JSON parse for that. JSON parse is a query language similar to XParse for XML, so it has a certain syntax and allows you to extract information from a JSON input. So we pointed towards a JSON input file, remove that also here, and just extract the books. This is the JSON path. There's more documentation available in the node description. I just know how to query it. I'm interested in the books array and all the books that are in that array. The result list is again a list of JSON objects. So in the output, I would expect a list or a KNIME collection. If I check the output here, I have this collection symbol, so that is actually a collection of different books that I just need to split by all the elements. I use an ungroup node for that, just using the default, checking the output here, and I have all my 95 different books shown here as small JSON objects. Now the next challenge is to extract information like the year, the author, and the title from all these book elements. Again, using some JSON path node for that. In this case, if I'm interested in the year, I just would type $.year. I know the type is an int, so the cell type in the output will be an integer type. It's not a list. I call it the output column year, and just execute it, and now I have an additional column containing the year of the publication. I can do this also for the remaining attributes. I'll skip that here and just jump directly to this workflow where I've done all of this. If I look at the output here, I have all the information that is contained in each of these JSON objects. And now, of course, I can group this data or visualize it very simply, for instance, attaching a color manager to it. Defining the color based on the type of the book. So here you have all the different types of books. And then, for instance, attaching a histogram node to it. Say I want the binning column to be the category and just count. Then open the view, and here I see how the different books distribute over the different types of categories. Of course, I can also do some more pre-processing to it, but I skip that for later. Other nodes that are available in the JSON category are, for instance, simple converters that allow you to convert a JSON object into XML. This will be the JSON to XML node. If I just use the defaults here, so I want to have the JSON input column as XML, called XML, and then just use the defaults, execute it, and look into the output, I have my original input XML, sorry, the original input JSON, and then the same thing represented as an XML. And then, of course, the other way around is the XML to JSON, which will bring me back to the JSON world. Which is then shown here on the right. Some more nodes that you find in the JSON category are, for instance, the JSON div, schema validator, and transformer. Just to show you how the JSON div would work. So, for instance, if I compare books, either one with the rest or just one with the one in the previous row, I would, for instance, use the like column node, attach it, let's say, to the ungroup node, and then just have each row shifted by one. So what you find here for this particular record is also found here. This one is found here. This one is found here, etc., etc. So I can always compare two consecutive records using the div node. So those are two that I want to compare, and call it div. Look at the output. Now this div operation is again JSON that will tell me how these two JSON objects differ. Like, for instance, this year is the same, so there is no transformation going on, but then the author is different, so it would replace the author attribute, removing it from here and just inserting a new value in here, etc., etc. This JSON div can then also be applied using the JSON transformer, but I skip this here for this demo. The full workflow that I'm showing here is in here, which will also be soon available on the public server. In this example, we also sorted the output by the number of occurrences, and then have for each author the number of books he published about George Bush. So where does this journey go? In future releases, we will add more nodes to the JSON processing category, in particular nodes that also allow you to compose JSON fragments from a plain table. We will also use these JSON data types in the KNIME server. The idea there is that we provide RESTful web services which you just spawn and have available as a service for consumption of RESTful queries, whereby the query will then just send JSON. It's passed into the workflow, processed, like extracted. Then you do something with it. For instance, you do some similarity search against your corporate database of entities, and then you return the most similar records in JSON back to the web service consumer.